Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 4, season 2 of 3 at the Back podcast. I'm your host, Darren Butler, and I'm once again joined by Scott and Paul.
Hello.
Howdy.
Today, we are talking about the stars of the Premier League, the absolute bosses, the ones that go on the back of everybody's shirt and the ones that everybody cheers about. Of course, it is the golden boot winners, the goal scorers of everybody's individual teams. So again, we're running on the similar sort of lines of what we did with the sack race, with the assist kings, everything else like that. Everything is points weighted. We're all hoping to earn points for our game at the end of the season, and so our selection really does matter in terms of where they place throughout the year. So it'll be interesting to see who you guys have picked, who you guys have omitted, and just a general kind of chat about kind of where you think everybody's going to land.
Can I start?
If you, I'm assuming you want to start because you know our selections already and you're absolutely disgusted with them.
I want to start.
Okay.
Are you excited?
Well,
Are you excited? Are you excited for the amount of goals that are going to go in?
I think 30 goals is not out of the question.
30 goals
For the winner?
for who you've picked.
Yeah.
All right, go on, hit us. Who's your number one? Timo Werner.
First season in the Prem,
Yep.
30 goals. He's going to be getting provided bullets by Pulisic, Havertz, Ziyech, Chilwell, Reece James, Mason Mount, Kepa. Kepa's going to be provided. Lampard's going to come off the bench and providing bullets. This guy's going to score goals for fun. He is world class.
28 goals last season.
World class. To say someone's world class, they're above the norm. They're in a bracket of their own, and this guy is world class.
Yeah.
I mean, there's absolutely no doubt to, because obviously
Darren hasn't got him on the list. Let's get it out. Darren doesn't know Timo Werner.
Come on,
He's not on the list.
I know who he is, I know what he's capable of. I did not have him as my consideration, just basically because I had a lot of other people that existed in the Premier League and have done it already, and I just feel like Werner is not. I think it's more a comment on the Bundesliga than it is Werner in terms of in Bundesliga as a benchmark versus the Premier League.
Yeah, that's a fair comment, but you can tell world class when you see it, no matter what league you're playing.
From what I've seen of Werner, the guy's clinical.
Yeah.
The guy has a bit of everything.
Yeah.
He's rapid.
Strong.
He's strong.
Can turn, can finish.
And at the end of the day, he puts the ball in the back of the net when he gets the opportunity.
Yep.
And
Scored for Germany like 2 days ago.
as we said, to score 28 goals
For anybody.
from
In any top
theoretically
division.
left wing for Leipzig, considering Paulson is their main striker. The fact that you'd like to think he'd be down the middle for Chelsea, with Pulisic on one side and Ziyech on the other, teeing up opportunities, and Havertz creating those gaps. I'd like to think he'll score goals for fun. He's definitely up there for me. I don't think he'll quite be golden boot for me, but I think he'll be up there.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair shout. I mean, like I say, his work for Leipzig off of a wide position shows that he's capable of scoring a lot of goals. For me, I think the
Sorry, I haven't finished with mine.
go on,
He's going to win golden left and right boot.
golden left and right boot. Okay, fine.
Go on.
I just think like from where he played for Leipzig last year out wide, I think that's potentially where he may start for Chelsea. I think Chelsea have got a lot of more options up front. They've got Giroud, they've got Tammy Abraham. Like, how does that fit into figure into it?
I think they'd be drunk to play either of those two over him as the main striker with the other attacking threats they have.
Which you're absolutely right.
Well,
I think Werner through the middle absolutely makes the most sense. I just feel like
pre-season they played him down a centre. Germany
Okay.
played him down a centre.
so, but when you consider it through for the entire season, a 38-game season, talking maybe 60 games when you include like the cups and Champions League and things like that. is he going to be the absolute number 1, number 9 choice ahead of Giroud, ahead
Yes.
of Abraham?
Yes.
Okay, but then what does that mean for someone like Tammy Abraham?
We're not discussing that.
All right, fine.
Well, what that means for Tammy Abraham is that he's either got to put up with the Carabao Cup, the early FA Cup rounds, and trying to push him for Champions League games.
Fair enough. I think my football knowledge is
Chelsea have already qualified.
is absolutely going to be judged on
Vernon's got the goals to get in there. Yeah.
is absolutely going to be judged on my own selection, and you'll probably see why I've left Werner out, just simply because I've picked an absolute dark horse wild card. I've gone with Gabriel Jesus. 21 starts last season, 14 goals, only 2 less than Aguero. All of last season, average
2 less goals.
2 less goals, yeah.
And how many appearances compared to Aguero?
Aguero made 30 appearances
Because
last year.
he was injured for a lot of that.
Yeah,
I think.
30 starts I think was for
And Jesus,
Aguero.
how many starts?
21 starts. So 9 less starts, 2 less goals. Averaged 3 shots per game on target. I think this year, more than any other year, is likely to get significantly more minutes than Aguero. I know obviously Aguero was injured last year. He's
fit now though.
Yeah, I mean, and Jesus did play marginally more minutes based on that, because obviously the injury and everything else of that.
But if they're both fit, Aguero starts.
Does he though?
Yeah.
Does he?
I think
In the big games for sure.
I think if there's any a season that Jesus has the opportunity to present that he's going to be the number 1 striker, then it's got to be this season. If he isn't the number 1 this season, then that would put all question marks over Gabriel Jesus entirely for me. I think if he can't get in front of an ageing Aguero, I'm not saying he's still not world class, because he is, but if Jesus isn't stamping his place now, then he's never going to be City's number 1 striker.
Yeah, and that was the big thing behind me selecting him was that this season, more than any other, is the time that he's going to establish himself as a Premier League striker, not just a Premier League striker, a Man City striker. He's got to overtake Aguero. He's got to take that mantle from him, in terms of, he's a 23-year-old guy. Aguero's 10 years his senior. It almost feels like a natural progression. Man City brought him in as a 19-year-old. He was another in a long line of Brazilian teenagers that were coming through it. Palmeiras and through the under 20s at Brazil and the Brazilian national team. So it felt like Gabriel Jesus was the natural replacement for Sergio Aguero. That said, nobody expected Sergio Aguero to still be scoring 18, 19, 20 goals a season at the age of 32, 33, 34 years old.
Normally, centre forward is probably the most elite position, apart from a top goalkeeper, the hardest to fill. There aren't many players down the years you can say are absolute goal machines. Sergio Aguero is a goal machine.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I watch Jesus, he's not at that level. He's nowhere near that level.
He doesn't look clinical.
He's not clinical.
I'm never confident that he's going to score when those opportunities arise, and I think that's what you get when you have the likes of Aguero, the Andy Coles, the Thierry Henry.
Name them the players that are around now. I mean, in the Premier League, you got.
If Lewandowski played for them, for example.
Lewandowski, I think Harry Kane's in that category.
Exactly.
Lethal. Vardy's in that category.
When I look at Gabriel Jesus' goal return, that's what encourages me more than anything else, because his appearances versus his goal return has increased year on year.
You might want to look at goals per chances ratio.
Yeah, maybe I'll take a deeper look at that. But when you look at the first season that Jesus was there, made 10 appearances, scored 7 goals.
But I could score 7 goals in that Man City team.
Okay, potentially, yeah, and that's fine. But then the next year, he makes more appearances, scores more goals. So it was.
That's logical.
Of course. So it's 15 appearances and 10 goals. The season after that, it was 21 appearances, 13 goals. This season, 21 starts, but overall it was 30 appearances, scored 14 goals. So if he's going to be their starting man and getting the main amount of minutes between him and Aguero, it stands to reason that if he plays, let's say, on average, 35, 34, 33 games, starting games.
Yeah, you'd like to think he'd get 20.
You'd like
20
to think,
plus.
yeah, you'd like to think he would be in and around that
in a
20,
Man City side.
that 20 goal mark,
He would.
which would stand him in good stead to win the Golden Boot, right?
But if Sergio was in that position,
Based on last year's winners
playing
and
those
how it's
stats,
been.
then Sergio would be getting 28, 30 goals. Because the guy's just a natural machine.
I think that's the only thing that's outside is whether he is actually going to be Man City's starting striker or not. I think that's the real question mark around him.
I'm saying if Aguero's on the scene, then Jesus isn't your main man. Can't be.
It really does depend on what happens with Aguero, of course. Like, I'm not saying that this is an out and out kind of decision that's already been made. We already know that Guardiola appreciates Aguero, loves the job that he does, but it almost as well feels like as soon as Guardiola came in, Aguero was straight away was going to be almost replaced in some way or some form.
Well, he tried to make him play the press and quickly change. I remember seeing Aguero chase back to the halfway line and give up. Because Pep had obviously said to him, "You got to work harder." But I think Pep has understood that he can't do that, and not that he doesn't want to do that. He can't do that, and has almost relented the fact that Aguero now has a free reign. He's not the guy that's going to do the press, because what he returns the other way in terms of goals, you can't buy that.
No,
you can't substitute that.
No, yeah, you might be right. I just feel like Jesus gets the game time. If he gets the starts, he gets the goals. You got to think that this is a Man City side that's capable of scoring 100 goals a season. If they do that again, it's not beyond the realms of realism or whatever for him to be, capable of scoring 25%, 20% of those to put him in that Golden Boot race. But yeah, as you guys have explained, that Aguero is the big factor in that, and whether or not he gets the game time, and whether or not Pep Guardiola sees him as the natural successor to Aguero going forward.
I personally think if Aguero's not your main man, City can't win the title.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. So we'll go over to the Arsenal fan. No surprises.
Well,
No
to be honest,
surprises.
there's only one shout anyway. There's only one shout. I don't know what you guys are talking about. There's only one shout. It's the left midfielder.
The left mid.
The left mid.
The left mid that's in Aubameyang. The guy was second last season, 22 goals. Joint first the season after. I'm pretty sure no one scored as many goals as him since he's been in the Premier League, outside of maybe Salah. Pardon?
So 22 last year. What was the season before?
24. When he was,
I think, yeah.
it was 24. He's tied with Salah and
Mane.
And Mane, yeah.
I think it was
They split
based on
it,
goal
didn't they?
score rather
They
than
split
games
it.
played.
It was Aubameyang missed a penalty on the final day.
Final day, yeah,
Oh, really?
to win it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Could have won the Golden Boot outright.
So
Pressure
for me, he's a natural goal scorer. He'll score that amount of goals no matter where Arsenal finish this season, which for me is guaranteed goals. So I think if you're looking at a striker that's going to get 20 plus goals no matter what, Aubameyang's your man. So therefore, he's in with a good shout no matter what happens to Arsenal in really. So he's got to be up there. I get what you guys are saying with the players you've picked. Werner was second on my list based on the Chelsea signings, and I see him being pretty prolific this season.
With that in mind, was Aubameyang second on your list, Scott?
You know he weren't. just you've heard it before, but we're Dortmund fans as well, so we've seen Aubameyang play for Dortmund and rip the Bundesliga up. I always find with him that he doesn't score his goals in batches. So if you look at Salah, for example, he'll get loads of twos, the odd hat trick. Aubameyang gets his goals in single figures, almost a goal a game, but not in heavy loads. I think you need maybe the odd game where you get a hat trick to win. He never seems to do that. He's good for a goal a game.
I guess what we spoke about previously in our conversations so far is consistency is the key. And he might not get you hat tricks, but he'll probably get you a goal a game. Which, if he gets him a goal a game, that's 36 goals. So that's golden boot.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be there or thereabouts, and I do think he, if you're picking someone that's gonna get you a goal a game, I think he's going to be there or thereabouts.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a good measurement, isn't it? Like if someone can come in and be consistent enough to like to say, I mean, as a you've used it as a criticism, but at the same time, like to be able to rely on one man to get that one goal every game, like that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
I just think with Aubameyang that if you're getting one goal a game, the pressure to score in every game is huge. If you can do what Aguero does and maybe go 2 games without scoring and then score a hat trick and be above the goal a game, I don't feel like with Aubameyang he can't do that.
So just for clarity, you don't think Aubameyang is capable of scoring 38 goals next year?
It's impossible. You can't score a goal a game. You can't score
what
every
you
game.
What you mean is that when he scores, like that's it. Like he feels like his job is done.
Well, no, it's a one. He's a clinical finisher in the Arsenal setup.
So what you're trying to say?
He might get 2 chances in the game.
A goal every other game, rather than a goal a game.
I think
statistically,
in the Arsenal setup, he's a clinical finisher. Okay, but he's not given the chances like Aguero is in the City lineup, where he has 3 chances to get a hat trick. He might get 2 chances and put one of them away. He's very clinical, so I feel he's restricted the fact that the players he has around him to supply him the chances. I think that's made it even harder for him, the fact that he's now been asked to work outside of the central lines, being played on the left. I see him as a natural centre forward, clinical as you like, world class finisher. If he had better suppliers, if he was in that Man City side, he would get you 2s and 3s a game for sure. I feel that in that Arsenal set, there's no criticism of him because he is a clinical finisher.
Yeah.
He might get 2 chances a game and put one of them away for sure.
So that's fine. So it's more about the chances that he gets to score goals.
Very very rarely you see him miss.
Yeah.
He gets a one-on-one chance. You pretty much know it's in the back of the net before he's even hit the ball.
Yeah. So it makes sense. Like if you say, like if he was ahead of Firmino or if he was ahead of Aguero in those like top 2 sides.
It's more criticism of the Arsenal team, I guess.
Yeah.
That he's in, and not him himself. So to have him as golden boot, the team have got to create more chances for him. He would convert.
I guess you're right in the sense that the system is built more around him as an individual to overperform.
Which is why I don't understand why they've put him on the left and not down the middle, because surely that's where he's the most deadly.
Seems to like to cut in on the right though, doesn't he? He's almost like the opposite of what
see
Iron Robin did for Bayern. He cuts in.
He's an out-and-out centre forward. The guy can finish for fun.
If he plays down the middle, I think we score more goals.
Yeah.
I think we're using Lacazette as a utility man with regards to what he offers, based on a balance to the Arsenal team, which has paved the way in some of the performances we've had, but I don't think it's the ultimate to the potential of how that Arsenal team can play. I think if Aubameyang plays down the middle and we play more of a attacking width with regards to Saka out left, Pepe out right, Willian up the middle or something along those lines, I think Aubameyang will create more opportunities and score more goals.
Yeah,
But
it certainly
I
makes
guess we're
it certainly
playing
makes
the
this
way
reclassification from an FPL point of view very interesting, because obviously the signing of Willian, obviously you just alluded there that Saka's going to potentially play on there, will be your first choice on the left.
That's what I would,
So
I would
Aubameyang,
like to think. But
Aubameyang
again,
could
I'm
well be
don't
your
know.
Aubameyang could well be your centre forward, and yet he's been classified as a midfielder.
Because I do feel, although Lacazette adds that balance, I do also think he hinders us from an attacking perspective, because he's then no longer in the position to put the ball in the back of the net when we're up there.
He's not the finisher,
because he's come short to link that play up, which
Yeah.
which is what he's been asked to do. This is not a criticism to Lacazette. This is just a criticism of how we've had to play in the players that we've got. So I do think if we feel that, if Arteta feels that we have that freedom to play that way, that we're able to play that way with that attacking flair, then Aubameyang is more suited. We'd create more goals and score more goals if Aubameyang is through the middle rather than having to play Lacazette and play the width.
We'll touch on this more
class that we've got
in future episodes, but I was when the classifications come out on the fantasy football there, and I saw that Aubameyang been put into midfield, I was absolutely gobsmacked, because the guy is a natural centre forward. I understand reclassifying Rashford or Greenwood or Salah's a midfielder on the record, because they're not centre forwards. The wingers or they're not your goal machines. Aubameyang is like his whole career has been goal machine
up front.
And it seems like, because he's preferred not as a centre forward, that he's on the left of a
as a wider player.
Doesn't make him a midfield player.
Yeah,
It's a madness. And his price of 12 mil in the game has been reflective of that, because people know.
People know, they like, as a goal now, to label him as a goal scoring midfielder is crazy.
He's a goal machine.
I guess that moves on to briefly before we end the episode. Really, is picking the Liverpool players really that we haven't mentioned is Salah and Mane. We haven't really talked about so far.
Absolutely,
the centre forward for me, that you don't talk about him as a goal scorer.
No, absolutely. I think like Salah and Mane were definitely a consideration. They were up there in last year's Golden Boot race. As you said, like Firmino is a completely different centre forward to the Aubameyang type. Like he almost like sets them up. He's that focal point to just lay the ball off and allows Salah and Mane to get into the game. So they are definitely were part of my thought process, my consideration.
They'll be
of course
up there, won't they?
Of course they will. Of course they will be. I definitely think that there'll be good value for 18, 19, maybe even 20 goals each. Maybe each. I don't. Who knows? It depends on how good Liverpool play. Other considerations for me were Jamie Vardy, obviously last year's winner. It maybe could replicate again. Obviously, we've had conversations about that in previous episodes. That maybe star power might fade a little bit, and it's going to be heavily reliant on like James Maddison and Harvey Barnes to supply those balls. Aubameyang was a consideration for me. Aguero obviously a consideration for me.
Not Timo Werner, Darren.
Not Timo Werner, unfortunately. Okay. For me, even as a fan of a Bundesliga team, I feel like the Bundesliga is not a good benchmark for players coming into the Premier League. I think we've seen too many players come over from Germany, come over from France, and not perform.
No, I think the German league's a better benchmark than a lot of other leagues.
I think the German.
I totally agree.
I think the Bundesliga is the closest benchmark that we could.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But I still don't think that it's
28 goals to 28.
It might take longer.
Still don't think it's quite there.
It might take a season and a half to get 28 goals. I don't know.
So let's take Sebastian Haller, who is a player that I actually rate quite highly.
Yeah.
He got 14 goals for Hoffenheim in the season before West Ham.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but 14 goals in the Bundesliga is not particularly prolific. Scored 7 goals in the Premier League last season. What are West Ham expecting?
Yeah.
7 goals in the Prem as opposed to 14 in the Bundesliga is pretty much on the par, surely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you score 28 in the Bundesliga, are you then expecting 14 as being the reasonable amount that he
scored 28 and 21 assists? I mean,
Even if
He's good for 20 at least.
even if he
On one
scored,
foot.
even if he scored 14 this season, though, to be honest, it'd be. I don't think it'd be awful, dependent on the fact that if the rest of the other players that around him contribute, that they've spent lots of money on. Again, it's based on their front lineup.
The front four, yeah.
They need their front all their front lineups contribute
They're going to destroy teams.
for Chelsea to be
Yeah,
a
destroy
challenge.
teams.
I think that's what they base their purchases on.
Interesting. Well, I think you can all agree that we've got different choices. We've got different reasons why we've selected those types of players. Timo Werner, Aubameyang, Gabriel Jesus. Of course, we all considered similar type of players.
Benteke run close as well.
Benteke was definitely up there with his 3 goals next year.
3 goals in 2 seasons.
3, yeah.
From a penalty spot.
Let us know down in the comments. What do you think, or who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot for the 2020-21 season? Are you similar to ourselves? Have you got Timo Werner? Have you got Aubameyang? Likely to have Salah and Mane as well. I'm sure you are, but also Vardy, last year's winner.
Danny Ings.
Is he
Harry
Danny
Kane.
Ings? Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
How has Harry Kane not even come up?
Harry Kane's fit.
This is the first time Harry Kane has been mentioned in the podcast about Golden Boot winners, and we're at the end of the episode.
2 injury prone.
So
Unbelievable.
let us know why we're completely wrong and he's going to win it.
Yep.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next time.